Alright, we are live. Gonna jump into some Minecraft. Alright. Move this over here a little bit. So, we've got quite a bit of things to do, I think. Most of it is we're gonna doing more on our brewing area. Our cleric hut. Gotta find a good name for it. I don't have a good name for it yet. But yeah, this is my... We're gonna finish the front. Finish the inside and do the roof. The roof is the part I'm looking forward to the least. Like, I'm looking forward to finishing this project just because I love this design. We came up with it in creative, and it works really well. It's all, you know, very attainable. Even if you're not like a Minecraft expert. So I'm very proud of this design. And it's gonna work really, really well for us. It's gonna give us 12 clerics to be able to trade with. We're gonna have our potion brewing area here. It's just gonna look really good. We'll be able to put ingredients in the top, blaze powder here, and get our outputs, which is going to be fantastic. But yeah, we gotta do that. We have a couple of librarians that we haven't quite got the trades yet. Even being off stream, I've been trying to lock in their trades for the last 3. Fire protection 4, lure 3, protection 4. We don't have them yet. That guy still needs one, that guy still needs one, and that guy. Those 3. They need to get their acts together. Ooh, but we did last stream on Wednesday, on our double stream Wednesdays, we did dig this out and get it set up for all of the book types, the 35. And then we have our, so we have, we're gonna have a double chest for each book type, and then we have a barrel for the soul speed barrel, and then the 2 curses. And this will be our enchanting setup here, which will probably put barrels full of lapis in here, maybe with some stair blocks. But we're gonna make this look like an overgrown library. Like, my goal for this space is for it to look like the library is alive and it's kind of sentient and it's overgrown. Not like completely within that, but just kind of lightly in that vein. Like it's like there's something weird about the library. It's growing into itself. And I have M&Ms. All right. Let's get started over here. We'll check on some farms every once in a while, see how they're doing, see how they're producing. We should probably get this finished. All right, let me pull up my screenshots. Time. All right. So I'm gonna move you here, and you here, and you here. here. All right. That is a lot of screenshots. Not a lot, it's 4. But just gonna be kind of clicking through them. Now, some of the design we can't do yet, like the Wither Roses, just because we don't have a Wither Rose farm or anything. But we will get there eventually. And there's nothing that says that we can't evolve this over time. Did I have Blackstone buttons? I believe I had Blackstone buttons. I think that's what I had in the original design. Let's see if that looks better. Oh yeah, way better. Way better. Alright. So we need to finish the front of this. We need some of the pink wood. Where are you? Where are you? We'll need some of the nether brick walls. We will need more than that. So let's put you there. Bum, 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 bum. Take some dirt for some scaffolding. We also need some of these. What else? We do need the glass. We'll need the lichen as well. We're gonna put some lichen up in that area. All right. So let's go ahead and pillar up there and let's get started. Okay. So I'm just gonna stair set this out and I'll cut it out as we need it. Okay. So this is a bottom side slab. Okay. Ah! Okay. I don't think that's right, but we're gonna go with it anyway. Okay. And then we do our square here. And we are gonna add our, let's see, upside down there. And we'll do one on each side. That. There we go. I was like, why can't I jump up? And I forgot. Okay. And then we put slabbies up here. So let's do one of these and one of those. Okay. Let's get one of those and put them here like this. And then I think that's it for that. Take some of the lichen, place you here. There we go. Alright, let's... There we go. Alright, let's see what that looks like now. Oh, much better. Okay. I was like, what is holding this open? It was a block. You there. Grab some of these. Grab some of that. Oh, I didn't need the... I never claimed to be smart. So, no pressure. Don't put that pressure on me. I did it dumb. Oh, well. So we need to put one on each of those. Okay. And put that there. Okay. Oh, goodness. Oh. That. All I said was, oh, goodness. That was my only reaction. Oh, goodness. Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay. Let's, let's see if we can get the chest here. Where's the chest? There it is. All right. We'll actually keep you because we'll probably need to fill in some of that. Huh. Let's take this sand, throw you in there. Throw you in there. Really? Nothing? Okay. Where did that guy even come from? That's the mystery to me. Where did he even come from? Okay, yeah, that doesn't need to go. I'll put you in there. Probably make another chest. Of just junk. Actually, let's place the bed inside just in case things go awry and another creeper decides, hey, I'm in town, want to hang out? There we go. Okay. Let's put some sandstone here. Okay. All right, let's try and figure out our roof design. Oh yeah, I didn't put the roof on here. What's up, Diffusion? I didn't put the roof on it yet, but I did finish the front and a lot of the inside. So we've got that kind of look going for us. I just had a creeper surprise me, say hello, and yeah, it was very alarming. But yeah, it was an interesting thing that just happened. But yeah, we got to do the roof. Roof is really the big final push for this, and then we just got to decorate the inside. I swear every time you enter the stream, you're ever gonna push enough. I'm doing it little by little. Thank you very much, because it's kind of a massive thing. Oh, I want to get your thoughts on something. I have started working on the Enchanted books storage. And I want to see what you think of this. So we've been enchanting and all that stuff, still waiting on these 3 guys to get those last couple trades. So I started working down here, digging this out, and this will be the book storage. So all these chests will be double chests, and there's going to be lots of bookshelves and everything. It's going to be very wood heavy in whatever blocks I'm going to use. Dark oak, spruce, maybe some oak. But I want it to look almost like the library itself is growing into this space. So we'll have our enchanting set up here with some barrels full of lapis. And there is going to be 1 double chest for every type of book, so that's 35. And then we have these barrels will be the curse barrels, and that'll be a soul speed barrel. Soul speed 3, because we won't need 1 or 2, but yeah, soul speed 3. We'll need it there. But yeah, it's gonna be kind of like a library cave of sorts. Yeah, I was going with very asymmetrical. It's really easy in Minecraft to kind of get into the symmetry trap. Especially if you have the mentality of build on an odd. So you have a 1 doorway, and so you have like sides on either side, or even with double doors, and have it evenly built. So it's really easy to get into that trap, and I'm trying my best to use symmetry where it makes sense, and then use asymmetrical building when it suits it better. And because I want the library to be a little bit more quote-unquote organic, I was thinking asymmetrical. I swear, it's raining all the time in this world. Oh, what was I gonna say? Oh, I saw some of your TikToks the other day. Your speed running attempts are hilarious. Yeah, your speed running attempts cracked me up. I appreciate them. I'm not really big into speed running, but I appreciate the crowd who are, because it's, you know, it's just a different kind of playing. But yeah, I'm very much not a speedrunner. I think that should be sufficient. Alright. Okay, so let's see. Let's look at this roof. Most of your TikToks are just challenge runs, not many of them speed runs. Yeah, I saw, which one did I see? The one where you fell, where you're like, oh, this is going so well, and then you immediately fell into lava. I was like, oh, I've been there. That's rough, buddy. Yeah, that one. It was one of those where I was like, oh, like, that's rough, but, you know. It almost has to come with the territory of trying to do certain challenges and speedruns. Like, you're gonna have those moments where you do something like that, like a little mistake or something. Okay. So, let me see. Used to it even before you recorded your attempts at challenges and speedruns. That's cool. I've never been into it, but I like again, like I said, I appreciate those who do. I think it's really cool. It's definitely different than how I play. So. Alright, time to start this beast of a roof. Just gonna start off essentially like this. And I took a nap today. It was fantastic. We took our daughters to a splash park this afternoon, and oh man, there was a lot of people there, so that made it kind of a little hectic, but it wasn't too bad. We kind of were held off in a little bit of a corner, but watching our girls play. And my wife and I were just sitting there, and our oldest got in the water a little bit. She's 7. And then our youngest was essentially in the water for the entire hour and a half. She was all about it. She could not get enough of it. And they were a little grumpy when we got home. We figured because they were just tired, but they're both out now. But I took a nap just because sitting in the sun for a couple hours got me all sorts of sleepy. My 4-year-old, my youngest, so long she's been to a water park, just chilling in the hot tub the most. Oh man, if we had a hot tub, I would just, especially like in the colder times, like I'm hot all the time. Like I'm always hot and uncomfortable all day, but I still love being in a hot tub. It's just so relaxing. But yeah, I haven't been in a hot tub in a while. But my youngest, my 4-year-old, they have like play equipment there too, like things that you can like spin on, climb, and stuff like that. So there was this little metal cage kind of thing. It's like like a small merry-go-round kind of thing, and it's kind of like an egg shape, and it's built of like hollow tubing. And so there was this like probably 10, 11-year-old girl that was pushing my daughters around inside of it, which was super cool. You know, playing with other kids, and my 4-year-old was kind of sitting in the like crossbar area, not really holding on very well, and she flew out and crashed on her head and like scorpioned. And so, and as soon as that happened, like the older kid like almost just like peaced out. She almost just walked away like, oh my gosh, that was horrible. So I hopped over there and I scooped up my kiddo and calmed her down and kissed her boo-boos and things like that. And then the older girl came over and apologized. And I was like, it's okay, it happens. Like, it's, you know, accidents happen. You didn't mean to. But then my youngest was more mad that I told her not to play on that for a little while to kind of give it a break and go do something else. She was more mad at that than actually falling and getting hurt. She was just mad at me because I told her not to play on it. I was like, all right, well, you do you, kiddo. Yeah, it, like, no doubt it hurt. Like, she hit pretty hard, and she had a good little road rash from it, because the floor of the little splash park wasn't, it's an outdoor splash park. It's not, it's like a turf, kind of. So, like, it's pretty rough on the skin. So she had a nice little road rash on her forehead from it. Oh, no. And so she fell a few times just kind of running around being silly, and she's got some major road rash on like the back of her leg and stuff like that. So it's gonna look like she decided to go like sliding on concrete because of how much road rash she got from today. But she had a blast. And then we're off for more. You have to go to more marks. Yeah, her little marks of battle. My oldest, they have like a bigger merry-go-round type thing, and my oldest loves those things. Anything like spinny, and she always talks older kids or like other parents into pushing her on them. And I'm like, you can't like just find strangers or every child that's as big as you or bigger to push you on these things. Like sometimes you gotta be the one, you gotta be the big kid to push them around in the merry-go-round. Like you gotta be the muscle. She's like, but I just asked him and they did it. And I was like, oh my gosh. It was cracking me up. She I hesitate to use the word manipulate because there's a lot of negative connotations with that, but she definitely finds a way to get people to do that stuff. It's funny. Yes, she was very persuasive. I like that. Thank you. She used her persuasiveness and negotiated a deal with other children and or adults to provide her with the service of pushing her on the merry-go-round. What they got in return was nothing, but you know, whatever. It does sound official. Well, that's kind of the thing. For such a long time, little girls who knew how, for when little girls kind of expressed that persuasiveness, they were called bossy. But boys were like, oh, he's a leader. And so what I like to do is I like to make everything like a business meeting. They were just conducting their little kid business, and they were being little kid executives. And they had a very productive meeting where they persuaded clients into agreeing to a program, to which they pushed me on the merry-go-round. Wish you could clip this, but it's too long. Did you see I used the last clip that you did of me saying stuff? I put it in as my animated thumbnail for Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. It's too bad YouTube doesn't allow animated thumbnails. Because I use, all I do is I just take a PNG of the animated thumbnail and use it as my YouTube thumbnail. And then whenever I post it on the other social media things, I use the animated one. It's just kind of fun. Yes, I saw that. Thank you for watching it. I haven't been really motivated lately to get another episode recorded. I have like ideas listed out for what I want to do in the series. I just got to sit down and make time to do it. My plan, tomorrow's a holiday, so my kids will be home, but they're going to have they'll have like their own sort of like individual playtime in the afternoon. I might knock out a recording tomorrow sometime, and then try to edit it later in the day and also Tuesday, and maybe release it Wednesday or something. So we're gonna just start with this base, because this is kind of how we started on the creative world. And then we just slowly changed it. What did you think of the hardcore video, if you don't mind me asking? I love feedback. I liked it. It was fun watching the struggle. I'm not really good at giving suggestions to feel bad. Oh no, like especially if it is like technical stuff, like, oh, your audio was a little weird here, or there's a weird cut in your video, things like that. To me, that's just like, hey, as a content creator, these are things that you can improve on. So I totally I went to college for, I have a degree in music education. Literally, all we did was tell each other we suck all the time. Because we'd watch each other perform and be like, dude, you biffed that note so hard. Or, you were out of tune the last half of your piece. What happened? Like, I'm pretty used to even, like, heavy, harsh criticism. I prefer constructive and helpful suggestions, like constructive criticism and helpful suggestions. But if I receive heavy criticism, I'm usually not bothered by it. My skin has been tempered. But, like, there's some things I want to improve from the first episode. So, like, I even have my own criticisms. Like, going back and watching through after I edited it, it was one of those, I'm like, okay, I got to make sure I do this better next time. And, like, I've got my own list. Trust me. Want to sleep so I don't get a creeper attack. Okay, shoot. Yeah, go for it. How am I going to do this part? Child doesn't grab people's attention, and the plus in that, plus the description isn't very... Oh, I see. Okay. Friendly, so having a title that grabs attention and having relevant keyword tags can help people. Awesome. Yeah, that's... Honestly, that's the kind of stuff I suck at. So, yeah. I agree with you. My title is not very catchy. Like, there's like one half of me who's like, yes, I've got to do the things that grab people's attention to get them to watch and things. But then the other part of me is like, I kind of want to break that cycle of like the over exaggerated facial expressions in people's thumbnails with crazy clickbaity titles, and try to like and try to make it a little bit more of genuine engagement with that kind of stuff. But I get that that's the way it works now. So having that now to get an audience would be important. But no, I agree with you. Thank you for that helpful suggestion. Man, I'm having trouble on figuring out where to start on this thing. Okay. So let's go. Let's start with the kind of hump area. So let's go back a little bit. Okay. Go a little bit more in here. Actually, maybe something like that. And then a little bit of this. And let's maybe do this. Okay. Is there a way I can dent this part in a little bit? No. Okay. Let's go in and grab all the other stuff. Yeah. Get one extra. Whenever I ask family friend, you just hear only good. Yeah. You know what's really funny? My wife is really good about giving honest criticism. Because she would just flat out, like, I will call her out because I can tell when she's lying about giving me, like, kind of pseudo suggestions and criticism. Like, I will just flat out be like, just tell me if you don't like it. Like, don't dance around it. It's okay. It's not going to hurt my feelings. I want you to tell me what you like and dislike. Or if you found it boring. Like, she's not a Minecrafter or anything. She doesn't play these kind of games. And so, like, I have to tell her, it's like, no, hurt my feelings. It's okay. Like, what you think is going to hurt my feelings is going to be, like, legitimate advice. So, yeah, it's one of those things. It's just, and I get why people are always hesitant to receive that kind of stuff, because not everyone is able to give good feedback without being nasty. Like, sometimes people will give feedback and it will be in the form of an insult. Like, you can't do this because you're such and such, you know? And which is unfortunate, because that's the thing that really hurts people from growing and learning and understanding how to improve. Like giving criticism is just as much of a skill as receiving criticism. In my opinion, I think that a lot of times people will say, well, you wanted honesty. And I'm like, yes, I did want honesty. But I wanted a genuine suggestion or criticism that isn't based on me feeling bad about myself afterwards. You know, I want to feel good about that this is something that I can change and can improve on. Okay. But no, I appreciate it. Thank you very much again for these suggestions. No, that's not what I want. We want to do this. It's hard without actually having it, because it's going to look different than my creative version, which is totally fine. It's not going to hurt this build, but it is going to make it look different. So I'm just trying to reconstruct this thing. One time someone was like, your video is trash. I'm like, okay, but what makes it trash? Tell me more. Yes, exactly. No, it's like what you said was an insult, not a criticism. Like I get that you want to tell me, like, I know, like, especially if I am begging for criticism, because I'm like, I know this video is not good. Tell me what I can do to make it better. So I don't need you to tell me that it's not good, because I already know that. And it doesn't hurt my feelings that you said it. I just want to know what I can do to make it better. But yeah, that's it's so strange how people will think, well, I'm just being helpful. Like, no, you're not. It's like, I get how you think you are, but you're not. Can I do this? Nope. What about... Ooh, I have a question for you, Diffusion. What camera setup do you use, especially when you are making your, like things like TikTok videos and stuff? Try to give criticism when you can, something you improve on, that compliments. Yeah. Compliments are tough because you want, like, to me, it's easy to be mean. It is super easy to be mean. Because I don't know why it is. Like, for me, growing up, when I was growing up, I was kind of a bully. And so for me growing up, it was easy to be a jerk. And as I got older, I didn't want to be. And so I kind of learned that being nice can be really hard. And being genuinely nice can be really hard. I think that's what I use. I think that's what mine is. C992. Let me Google it. I gotta be sure. Oh yeah, that's the same one I'm using right now. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's the same one I've been using. Not really good at being mean or nice, just do my best to be neutral. I was the one who was bullied in school. Yeah. Like, as I got into high school, I don't want to be like I was friends with everybody. Like, I was friendly with everybody, but, like, I was in band and choir and stuff, so there were people I gravitated more towards. And, you know, that's, like, my wife and I met in high school, so there are definitely crowds that I did better with than others. But that isn't to say that, I wasn't friendly with everyone. But like, I did sports and stuff too. Like, I did wrestling and I did track for a little bit. So it's one of those things where some of it is kind of whatever community you're in and how receptive they are to people who are different, or who enjoy different things. I was also a pretty good student, so in our school, kind of being smart wasn't really looked down on as much, or being smarter or good at school wasn't really looked down on. People were like, oh wow, you know, you did really well on the ACT, or you did really well on this, and things like that. It was definitely sometimes popularity or like looks and stuff had a lot to do with it. I had like 2 friends you hung out with during school. I was the quiet one, so I didn't participate in anything, just took anything computer and food related. Oh man, if I could go back and do more computer based things, I would. That is actually like my big regret, is not learning more computer science stuff. Just from how much I'm learning now. I mean, if you played Minecraft or watch anime, get looked down on. Yeah, so it's weird because when I was in high school, I thought that. Like, really thought that, just because of like my family. And how my family treated that kind of stuff. Like, I was made fun of for watching cartoons by my family. And there was a little bit of like watching anime and stuff like that in middle school from other kids who were like, oh man, you're one of the weird kids kind of stuff. So, but in high school, there was like this, I started to see it. It wasn't big, but I started to see it, where some of the more popular and affluent kids were also kids who like watched anime, and we talked about One Piece. We talked about Avatar. You know, so there were, it was strange. It wasn't exactly like, oh my gosh, being nerdy is cool. Like, cause that really didn't start to happen until I got to college, that watching anime was like a cool thing. So it was just one of those things where, like, I just started to see hints of it in high school. But yeah, Minecraft. So I am old enough. Minecraft didn't come out until I was student teaching. Like 2011 is when it came out. So I was like, I had graduated college and I was student teaching at that point. Like the teacher I was student teaching with actually got me started in Minecraft. It was never cool when you left high school when someone found out I played Minecraft. You kept on plugging your monitor. That's just like, I would just, I don't know. It's hard for me now to deal with bullies, like being a parent. Being a parent is tough when it comes to, like, I don't know how I would respond if I saw a bully with my kids. Because there's one part of me that's like, okay, this is something that they're going to have to navigate themselves and kind of figure out their own solution, but I want to guide them as much as possible, and give them the tools that they need to make what the right choice is for them in that particular moment, because there's never like a one choice fits all kind of thing with that. But I also know that another part of me is like, oh, you're bullying my child. Well, I'm 35 and I'm, you know, I'm a big dude. I don't care if you're a child. I will pick you up and take you to the nearest adult that I think is your parent and hand them off to you. Like, if I see you bullying my child, like, there's a part of me that's like, I'm not going to put up with that and for 1 second. So it's always been tough for me to kind of navigate that now as a parent. But, like, I still, like, always want them to be like, okay, I want to see how you handle the situation with kind of what tools I've given you. But yeah, people like unplugging monitors and stuff like that, that's just ridiculous. Like, it's always one of those things like, what does them having fun have anything to do with you? Like, I never got that. Like, when people would bully people because of the things they liked, especially if it wasn't hurting anybody and it's not like a hurtful idea that people are enjoying. It just is different than what you like and things. I never understood that part of where bullies would get that. So when your family friends getting bullied, approach them, even if they're bigger than me. I was one who got bullied. I would never want that. But yeah, definitely. Yeah, I would always approach them, but, like, I still want them to be able to take care of themselves when I'm not there, too. So that's why I'm like, do I want to always be the one that steps in? Or do I want to give them the tools to deal with that person themselves? And so that's kind of where I come around on that. Yeah, I could see that. That's always tough because you have to figure out, okay, is this the point that I need to stand up for myself? Is this my breaking point? Or is this the point that should be the point that we collectively as at the point of tolerance of what we should tolerate from people who are bullying us? Like, it's tough because sometimes you don't always know if you are making a stand for yourself or for others as well. So it's always, social interactions like that have always been strange to me because you have to navigate it in such a way that is something that when you look back on, you're like, okay, that was embarrassing, or okay, that was the right thing to do, but I didn't say things quite the right way, or, you know, it's like those 3 a.m. thoughts of when you're trying to go to sleep and all you can think of is the time you embarrassed yourself in 3rd grade for saying the weird thing. You're trying to sleep and you can't get the thing out of your mind. Ooh, I have lots of dirt up there. When my oldest was, oh gosh, she was probably close to 2, and we were at a McDonald's play place, and the toddler area has like a little slide for little kids. And so her and some other kids around her age were all going down the slide, having fun, just being cute little toddlers. And this older boy, and I'm kind of standing like right next to the slide because I'm kind of a helicopter parent. This like 4-year-old boy, he was probably about 4 or 5, kept sitting at the edge, like at the end of the slide, and just kind of being a turd about it. And kids were trying to slide and they were running into him, and he just thought it was the funniest thing ever, just blocking the slide for all those kids. And he would just continue to sit there no matter what. And like, I even went over to him and I was like, hey buddy, like, you need to move. Like, there are other friends that are wanting to play. And he just kind of looked at me, and I was like, bud, you need to move right now. I'll move you. And his dad was like off to the side, so his dad saw me confront this 4-year-old, did nothing. And then my oldest, when she was almost 2, I want to say, she uses her words many times with him, and I was very happy that she used her words many times. But I saw her make the choice of stop using her words, and she decided to act. So she picked him up and threw him off the slide. And it was one of those moments where I kind of scooped her up, like I got right up next to her, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, thank you for using your words for such a long time. I don't like it when you have to, we don't want to try to be physical with people if we can use our words to stop a situation. But I was like, oh my gosh, that was amazing all at the same time. Because she stood up for herself and the other little kids that were around her and took care of the problem. And the little boy laid on the floor like, are you gonna do anything? And I was like, I mean, you're not hurt. She just moved you. And she didn't. Uh-oh. Okay, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. Once we start going in and adding some variation with the different colors, it'll start looking really good. All right. Let's do this. With that, are you going to do anything? Oh, the little boy, yeah. He kind of looked at me like, are you going to do anything? And I was like, nope, like, you're not hurt. And she just moved you. And, like, she wasn't, she used her words, and she tried many times by talking to you, and you didn't let her words convince you to stop being a little jerk. And so she decided to remove you from the situation, and she did so in a way that didn't hurt you. Which, I mean, like, it's not like she made that conscious thought with her being that young, but she definitely, I think, made a correct choice. Probably not the correct. I don't think there is a correct choice in that, other than that parent getting involved, because the situation wouldn't have escalated to that point had his parent, who his dad was close, and seemingly watching, and had the parent got involved and went and talked to his kid and be like, hey, there's friends playing, we want to make sure that we're kind to those friends, especially those friends that are littler than us. They can't get around you, so sitting at the end of the slide is not a good idea. Had that parent gotten involved, nothing would have happened. But my toddler handled the situation, I thought, in a pretty reasonable way, because she used her words multiple times, and to no avail. Like, it did not work. So she did the next best thing. That was not use. If a parent's not involved, she took care of it in a way that didn't hurt anybody. Yeah, I don't like to, like, I agree that in that moment there probably wasn't a lot of positive parenting. I don't like to use, like, wasn't raised very well, because, like, being raised well can fluctuate so fast. Like, in one moment your parent could do something that is positive, meaningful parenting, and quote unquote raising you well, but it's just choices in instances where people make decisions, and the parent just wasn't as active at that point as they probably could have been. I don't want to judge their entire parentage on one incident. That guy could have just been distracted by his phone or something else, which isn't right. But in that instant, he was, maybe he zoned out. Like, we can't see everything. We can't kind of control every bit of minutia of someone's actions. But I try to treat it as more of a, like, if we have to get involved, then it's reached a point where, we need to do a corrective measure. And for me, in the way that I raise my kids, is we have conversations. Like, when I was a kid, we got spankings a lot, and I don't do that now just because when I was a kid, it was taken too far a lot. And it's easy to take too far. And there's no real world adult version of spanking, so it's not setting them up for anything in the real world. Like, when you're an adult, you don't get a spanking from your boss if you don't listen or if you say something disrespectful. There is a usual verbal or a disciplinary, which is always verbal, kind of reprimand. So there's no real world place for that. So I don't use it. We know we have the data to show that it actually does the opposite of what you want. It makes kids more like angrier and more negatively have more negative emotions reinforced later in life. Positive reinforcement, better negative reinforcement. Yeah, like I always let my kids know, like if they mess up, I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at what happened. Like if they broke something, I'm mad that the thing is broke. I'm not mad at you for breaking it. Like, why would I be mad at you? You made a poor choice. Like, we'll have a consequence, and that's fine. But there are good consequences, too. For when you do a good thing. Consequences are both positive and negative. So, like, in this instant, we'll have a negative consequence. And you can be upset about it. That is totally fine. Everybody makes mistakes. You can either yell at them or teach them. Yeah, agreed. Like, I try to, like, because I've always been told that I am loud. So I try my best now not to be loud. I try to be as soft-spoken as I can. And so when other people are loud, it really bothers me. And what's funny is, like, my oldest is a very loud child. She talks very loud, and she talks a lot. She always asks a lot of questions, which is good, because when I was a kid, it sounds weird, but, like, I got in trouble for asking a lot of questions. It's like, you got made fun of. They're like, oh, you don't know this? You don't already know the answer to this? Or why would you ask such a question? That's weird. Why would you ask that? So I always felt bad for asking questions. So I try to learn stuff on my own. But with like my kids, I want them to ask questions. I want to help them discover the answers. So I let her ask questions a lot. Sometimes I have to tell her, I'm like, Daddy's kind of questioned out. Let's take a break on questions. You can ask me more questions later, but Daddy wants to take a break. That way they know they can kind of react appropriately to other people setting their limits and boundaries. There we go. That's pretty close to what it is on the screenshot. So how far back we go? 2? Okay. So sometimes, Diffusion, I do a thing on stream where I will do a controversial topic or controversial opinion about a non-controversial topic. So like, for instance, saying, let's see, okay, Star Wars. Let's do a Star Wars one, because they're like, it's hard not to be controversial with Star Wars. I think that the prequels, so episodes 1, 2, and 3, the prequels, have a better story than episodes 4, 5, and 6. Like, they have a better, more complex without being too convoluted plot. So episode 4, 5, and 6, in my opinion, the plot is really simple and very overdone. But episodes 1, 2, and 3 have a really nice, complicated plot about like politics and warfare, and about the balance of good and evil, and how even the those in charge of the quote-unquote good can make mistakes that lead to their own downfall. So not like a super important topic. Here's a controversial opinion. I find the Star Wars movies boring. I have no opinion on specific movies. That's totally valid. No, like I've had those conversations with friends before, where like Star Wars seems like it finds itself as the kind of end-all be-all of sci-fi kind of space opera. And in my opinion, it's mid. Like, the stories are okay. Some of the action is really good. Some of the effects are really good. The innovation, like in the movies, for instance, the innovation in filmmaking in the sci-fi genre was immense, undoubtedly. But that doesn't make the movies that represent those, that are the face of those innovations, good. Or objectively good. But, like, I like... Whenever someone hears that I'm not a Star Wars fan, they get confused. Like, for a long time, if you were kind of a nerd, it was assumed that you were a Star Wars fan. Which, I get. You know, people think that since you like one nerdy thing, you must like all nerdy things. But as we know, that's, you know, not a fair representation of quote unquote nerd culture. But I really enjoyed episodes 1, 2, and 3 as a kid. I enjoy them now. There are things about the new series that I liked. The episodes 7, 8, and 9. There's some things about it that I really like. There's some things about it that I didn't like. Like, for instance, you can definitely tell that there wasn't a huge plan in a lot of what happened in episodes 7, 8, and 9. Like, some of the beats and plot points that are referenced pretty heavily and that are huge homages to the 4, 5, and 6 are kind of abandoned in 8. So, like, in The Last Jedi. Which tells me that they didn't really have a big structure for that. But there are things about it that I enjoyed. Like, the acting is really good in those movies. Daisy Ridley, amazing. She is one of the, if not the best actress who has been in a Star Wars movie. She was fantastic. Tone of the movie isn't for me. I've seen any of the new Star Wars movies. Maybe I should give them a try, but I'm a proud nerd. Yeah, like it's, you like what you like. Let's see, what was something else in that? Oh, there's Rogue One was good. I'm kind of tired of, like, Rogue One to me felt like a sci-fi movie more than a Star Wars movie. I haven't seen Solo. I've watched The Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2. I haven't watched Boba Fett. I haven't watched Kenobi yet. But there are a few things in Star Wars that I'm pretty nitpicky on. acting has never really been one, just because I feel like the acting in them is fantastic. Even 4, 5, and 6, there's some great moments of stellar acting. And for me, acting has improved. A lot of people will kind of poo-poo on some of the actors nowadays. And I'm like, the skill and study of acting has, if anything, improved dramatically in decades. Like, I don't think that we have regressed in when it has come to into acting or anything like that, into the skill of an actor. But oh gosh, what was it? But yeah, I like, for it to be kind of the end-all be-all of sci-fi movies, I'm not about that. I think, like, I liked, okay, now this is probably a controversial opinion. And I may lose nerd cred for it. The Interstellar is your favorite movie? Interstellar is such a good movie. Interstellar is such a good movie. You must know now. Okay. So, the movie, I feel bad saying it. The movie Jupiter Ascending with Channing Tatum and, what's her name? Jupiter Ascending with Mila Kunis and Channing Tatum and Eddie Redmayne. I like that movie more than any Star Wars movie. Like, by a lot. Like, to me, it is funny. It has humor. It is, like, just odd, which I feel like has to be sci-fi, especially like a space opera sci-fi. It just needs to be odd. It needs to be weird. You've never heard of it? Oh my gosh. It is odd, but it is so good. I love that movie. Like, I watched it probably within the same month of watching The Force Awakens, and I was like, why is this movie that everyone pooped on just a better movie than The Force Awakens? Like, it is not just better. It is like, it's better acted. It's got a better story. It's more fun. Yeah, Jupiter Ascending. It is a movie that will definitely get your nerd card revoked if you say you like it, because it was pretty much like panned by critics and stuff. It was not well received. But yeah, I loved it. Also, Dune. I loved the original Dune. I read the first book by Frank Herbert. I love Dune. Dune is so good. And the remake, like Dune Part 1, so good. So good. Oh my gosh. It was one that I regret not seeing in theaters. But, you know, it came out with the pandemic still going on. And so I haven't been wanting to do, like, public theaters since the pandemic and stuff. So it, like, at that time. And so I didn't see it in theaters. But, oh my gosh, it is a movie that I regret not seeing in theaters. The sound, like the soundscape alone is probably worth the price of admission in a theater. Like, the sound engineering for that movie, it's like you can hear each individual grain of sand scraping against things, and it is like, it's magical. It was fantastic. I love that movie. Watching movies in theaters is always better. I wish I saw Interstellar in theaters. Yeah, I don't think we saw that in theaters, but it's one of those movies where it makes you kind of realize how scary space can be and how scary time is. Like the emotional weight in that movie is so heavy. Like them kind of aging, figuring out that, you know, they've been gone for so long that they've essentially missed their kids and grandkids and stuff because they've been gone for so long, but for them it hasn't been that long. It makes time scary. Kind of makes you appreciate our relationship with time. And how we function with it. Big space nerd. I love thinking about how big an empty space is, but yeah, that's sad moments. Yeah, I'm a big space nerd too. I love space. There's something though about Interstellar, and that I really appreciated was how they didn't shy away from it being really laying into sci-fi and not just like a science-y movie, because there sometimes sci-fi will be very science based and not feel like sci-fi, but Interstellar was one of those that found a really good balance for sci-fi in that space, which I thought was really cool. Yeah, that's why you like it. It's not sci-fi, but not too deep in. Yeah. Ooh, we are about an hour and a half into it, and I think I did fix these. Exclamation, or, no. We gotta do exclamation point socials. Boom, there's all the socials. They're all individually clickable. There you go. All of Mr. Retro on everything. We're gonna be streaming for a little while longer. We're gonna try and get some decorations in here done now. Go. All right, so let's add. Let's see, we need some of these. We need those. Ooh, we need the redstone for the blood. We need our lightning rod. We forgot to get a lightning rod. We'll do that. I'll go grab one real quick. And then paintings. I need paintings. Ooh, and we need to shear a couple more sheep. Shear the sheep. Finally joined the Discord. I'm always hasn't joined Discords because there's a limit on how many servers you can join. Yeah, I don't join too many. Like, I join a few. And my community, you know, is pretty tiny. And no one really posts in there, but it's mostly just as like reminders for stream or when I post a video or something like that. That's what I've been using it so far with. Eventually, I'd like to get it into more of a like full-fledged community where we can chat, like daily chats, you know, that sort of stuff. I wanna get more into that. And definitely getting into stream ideas, game suggestions, video ideas, kind of like think tank kind of stuff too. And like I've got a channel in there for self-promotion, so you can even promote yourself, which not everyone is into. I don't know why. I don't know, I kind of dig it. Like, someone else streaming doesn't hurt me. It's definitely not a closed space. All right, let's do that. Some blood there. Do some blood there. Blood there. Boom. All right. Boom. But I don't think I've ever gotten to the limit. I think self-promotion works for smaller channels and streamers, YouTubers, not so much with big channels. Yeah, I can see that. And like, I get why a lot of bigger streamers don't want to do that, because there's the fear of people kind of riding your quote-unquote fame or relevance in kind of writing it into their own, which I totally get. I don't necessarily agree, just because like for a lot of those streamers and YouTubers, their popularity was only garnered because someone who was a bigger influence shouted them out and said their name and promoted them. So but like, you also think that they probably have a bigger community, so that's just a bigger flood of people promoting themselves all the time. So like, I can definitely see the reasons why people would want to limit that if you're a bigger creator. Yeah, harder to get recognized. Like, it's just a bigger amount of people. It's just more people. Oh no, let's do this. And this. Forgot to make the roof. Or the ceiling, I guess. Ah! I made the wrong thing. Oh no. Made the wrong thing. That's what I get for not paying attention. There we go, that'll work. Okay. So the roof kinda goes around in a border. And then it just kinda ends on that side. Okay. There we go. I don't know. It's one of the things, like, with my stuff, if it ever got to a point where it wasn't helpful anymore, then, you know, of course we would stop it. Oh, I need stairs. But it's really just trying to be helpful in those moments. Because, like, for a lot of us, being a small creator means that any exposure, no matter the amount, is good. Ah, poop. Ah, poop. There we go. Poop. More Discord servers need a section dedicated to teaching and helping small creators grow. Never seen that yet. There's a community that I'm involved in, because I live here in Missouri, and I live up in the northwest corner of Missouri, which is near like Kansas City and things like that. But the St. Louis community Discord I'm involved with because I sometimes go down to, there's a retro gaming convention down there, and so I join their Discord, and they have a thing called Stream Doctors, where two creators, two streamers, essentially sit there and they talk about growth and like what is meaningful growth, and what it like, kind of giving you suggestions and helpful helpful suggestions and ideas about growing a community and making sure that you're doing that. And it's been pretty insightful. Some of the stuff you'll kind of already know. Kind of the follow for follow stuff doesn't work. Sub for sub stuff doesn't really work. But finding those communities where you can grow is like the bread and butter, like where you want to be. So you can even sign up for channel and page reviews where they will go through and like, so I watched this past Friday and I signed up for a channel review. And so this next Friday on their Stream Doctors stream, they will kind of go over my channel and, say what they like, what I'm doing well, what things I should do in the future to kind of help, what could help. So yeah, it's, it's just more opportunities for helpful criticism and suggestions. And, during those streams, you can, the communities are, between like 30 and 100. So chat's not super crazy, to where you can't get a word in, edgewise. So, it's possible to have conversations. It's cool. You've done extensive research on YouTube, Twitch, so I think I know the basics, but the channel review sounds cool. Yeah, like really, like that is what I am really looking forward to, is kind of seeing like what am I doing that's working? Like that is, making me discoverable in the slightest. What are things I could do more of? Like technical things, like does my audio suck? Does my video suck? Should I position myself or look at the camera more? Like even that kind of stuff. Like I've done community theater and I've been doing some independent filming projects. So being able to discuss presence, especially camera presence, has always been really fun for me. I kind of like that. Because it's like treating the camera as another actor or another character that you have to form this relationship with. So being able to, especially if it is being filmed in a style where you do face the camera, knowing when and what style of shooting you're doing to know, like, should I be looking at the camera now or should I be looking at the camera now? You know, that kind of stuff. Is it helpful for me to narrate or is it helpful for me to commentate to the camera? Poop. This is like, this and putting the amethyst shards everywhere is legitimately like one of the last big things I have to do in here. Let's actually change this around a little bit. Let's do one of those. But yeah, the channel review I'm really looking forward to, because I kind of just, I want to know where I'm at now and how can I improve. A lot of it is just consistency. I just need to post more. And post more content, more consistent content, really look at my analytics of like what's working, what's not, that kind of stuff. I know that kind of stuff will be helpful in coming up with a better plan of how I want to make content. Ooh, I'm gonna sneeze. Woo! I hate sneezing. Oh, it is like one of my least favorite things. Yeah, I've heard that too, like analytics, especially mentally, like it's not really good for you mentally. Because like if you're only doing like 2 or 3 viewers a stream and then getting like a handful of views on YouTube or something like that, like your analytics are just going to eat away at you because you're going to have this expectation of like, why am I not famous yet? Kind of stuff. Like we have it in our mind that people like Dr. Disrespect and Ninja are famous because they that they are famous because, you know, they did these X, Y, and Z things and I'm doing them too, so therefore I should be just as famous. It's easy kind of thing. And a lot of people just don't understand that, like, a large part of it is the grind. A large part of it is kind of the luck of the draw. Yeah, the hard work. Number of reasons why people grit is they don't see quick growth. Yeah, like if you are looking to go viral and be an overnight sensation, the only reason why we hear about those people is because it happens so rarely. Like, it is not common for people to rise like that. It's just not. Because if it were, then literally everybody would be famous. Like, yeah. Been creating content for 5 years. I'm only seeing some hope. Most people by now. Yeah, I started to a little while ago, and then I had some like real life things that kind of got in the way, and I got kind of burnt out on trying. And now I'm in a position where I'm only really working from home. So I'm in a position where I'm at my computer more, so I can make content. So like if I'm in between like teaching classes, because I teach online, if I'm in between teaching classes, I can make a TikTok. I can build a little bit. I can record a little bit. If I have an afternoon where I have no classes to teach, I can stream. So it's definitely given me the opportunity to be more creative. Yeah, like a year where you didn't upload a stream. Yeah, like I think my YouTube channel was created like 5 years ago, and 5 or 6 years ago, and I have created things. I've started like a Minecraft series and then stopped because I got burnt out. And that was when I was working in a school building. So I was like just burnt out from doing anything. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to sit at home and relax. But it's fell for traps, my old YouTube channel that killed my motivation and passion for video creation. Yeah, I could see how that goes. Yeah, it is a learning experience. I definitely agree. It is something that sometimes you have to make those mistakes, learning lessons. Like, I guess they can be both. Mistakes can also be learning lessons. But it's one of those things where I really, like, I appreciate, like, hanging out with you. If you are my only viewer for, like, years, I'm fine with that. Because this is the kind of chill, relaxing space I like. Like, honestly, if I had 1,000 people watching and trying to converse with me, I don't know how I would deal with that. Like, I guess I would adapt, because it wouldn't happen just overnight. It would be kind of a burn into it, but, you know, I kind of like the little bit more intimate, like, just having a conversation. Just, like, to me, I view streaming like old couch co-op. Like, you are hanging out with your friends, playing a game. That's it. Instead of, like, when I was a kid, you'd go over to your friend's house and you'd sit on the couch and play games. Or you'd sit and watch your friend play the game and they pass you the controller. That's the kind of stuff, like, that's the feel that I want. Working on a new channel, completely fresh with those lessons, and I'm still feeling great 1 year in. Yeah, I've been creating content lately for the past few months pretty consistently, and now I've had 2 weeks of double stream Wednesdays, which are exhausting, but they're so much fun. And I think for this double stream Wednesday this week, I'm going to jump back into Genshin Impact, because there's an update this week. I feel like slow growth is better in a way, because you get to know everyone over time. You can recognize lots of people who enter, where fast growth, it can be a mess. Yes, I agree. Like, recognizing names can be way easier with the, with slow growth. Yeah, I agree. Boop. Same time, I want to quit my job, so I won't complain a bit about fast growth. Yeah, I've been looking for more remote things, and with education, unless you have a lot of computer science in your background, it's tough to have an education background and then try to get into a lot of remote, because they want you to know how to code and things like that. And I've been slowly teaching myself some of that. Like, I've been doing a lot of stuff on Code Academy, learning SQL, and I've been doing some HTML stuff. So it is definitely something that I've been interested in and I'm trying to do more with. Come on, there we go. There we go. Needs to go up one. But I did have a preliminary interview with a mental health advocacy company, and they're looking for some education people to do stuff. So I am looking forward to that because I think that will allow me the time to do more stuff here on Twitch, while also being able to have more of a full-time gig with, you know, all the bells and whistles. And being able to, like, be at home and, like, get my kid off the bus, nothing beats it. There's just... it, like, honestly, it's one of my favorite things. I just love being able to hang out with my kids more. And so being home as soon as they get home is, like, my favorite. We'll take these. Have you decided to get something yet? No? How dare you? How about you? No? How dare you? What about you? How dare you? We need to hide some light. So we're gonna plop you down right here. Boom. And then boom. There we go. Lots of light. Lots and lots of light. Alright. They changed how light levels work with Mobs Summoning. Yes, me too. Oh my gosh. Like, it definitely gives you a chance to make things... like, for me, as someone who likes to be creative in how they build, oh, it's so nice. Because now I can really play on light levels with building. I think it's gonna be... it's so nice. Oh, moss carpets. Yes, moss carpets are fantastic. They're just awesome. I like moss carpets. Let's do this. Nature hidden lighting. Yeah. You know what's really fun to use, and I don't know if you've used it, is, like, let's say you have, like, a water thing, like a little pond or thing like that. You can use sea pickles, and sea pickles give off lighting too, and it's underwater, so you don't have to worry about, like, placing leaves obstructing the water and stuff. So yeah, sea pickles are really good at underwater lighting. Heard of that, but you've never used them. Yeah, it's one of those things where once you use it, you're like, oh, okay, I can see why a lot of people use this. Because this is really, you know, it makes sense. It doesn't make sense in every kind of build, though. Like I wouldn't try to force sea pickles in where they don't really fit. But we're pretty much done with it now. We're done with this build now. Now I'm just messing with the terrain to make it look good. Oh no, it gave you a challenge idea. Oh, give me details. I want to be in on it. Minecraft, but you can't touch light. Oh. Like you can't touch lighting blocks, or that you can't go in, like, anything above light level 0. because the second one sounds horrible. Like, that does not sound enjoyable. Maybe a light level 7 or above as band. That could be interesting because that gives you a range to where you know, you can still have light, but it will keep, you know, you can still keep mobs away. That could be interesting. You could do some stuff with that, I think. I think there's plenty you could do with that. It'd be hard. You'd have to play only at night with like a light source you'd have to be like 5 blocks away from a light source, or just play with like redstone torches, because I think redstone torches give you like a light level 4 or something, so still usable, just barely anything. Or soul torches. Must not think of it too much or I will get into the motivational movement and research like crazy. Yeah, to beat the game with this challenge. That could be interesting. Now, would it be... how could you... Like, for me, it's just like figuring out the rules. Like, how could you, like, because being in the nether, like, there's lava everywhere. And that's going to mess with your light levels. So, like, the nether, you're going to have some concessions I think you'd have to make. Fire as well, yeah. You'd have to be, like, in the nether, the light level doesn't matter so much. Maybe that you can't place any additional lights. That could be fun, because then you can get into, like, the loopholes of that. Even though I didn't place any, you can still manipulate the terrain to create more light. Like digging in the netherrack to discover lava to light up an area. But you didn't place it. Put a plugin that kills you if you're standing on a light block. That's... Oh, man. Oh. That sounds like torture. I like it, though. It's different. I like it. You know basic Java. But yeah, you should definitely give it a try then. I think that could be a lot of fun. I think that would be like torturous and hilarious. I will definitely give that one a watch because I'm gonna be laughing the whole time. I will. I'm working on another idea first. Good deal. Some soul sand in here. Some soul sand. What I'm gonna probably do after I'm done streaming, time for a shameless self promo. There you go. When I'm done with this, I'm probably going to do like make a TikTok of built-in creative, built-in survival, kind of like a promotion for my Twitch stuff. I think that'll be fun to do. Do like a spin around kind of video where I'm like, I spin around this hut or this build in creative and then show what it looks like in my survival world, in this world, to kind of highlight that, like, hey, look, I stream and do stuff. So excited because my recent video on YouTube is being picked up on the algorithm, constantly refreshing my viewer count. Ooh, yeah, that's cool, man. I'll have to check it out. Oh, you'll watch the video? Okay, cool. It'll definitely be more promo-y with like built-in creative. Now see it in survival. Check out Minecraft Mondays on twitch.tv/Mr. Retro. I might do like a funny voiceover like that. Like, epic movie announcer kind of. That could be fun. I like to do voiceover stuff. I think voiceover would be one of the most fun jobs. I've been wanting to get into it. I've done some challenges and stuff with different stuff. Totally had a random B-roll of people smiling, watermark still showing. That would be amazing. I want. Don't tempt me, because I might pull something that ridiculous. Oh, there's kind of a cool thing that what is it? An AI that generates images based on like words that you type in, based on text. And I've wanted to do like a thing where I create a bunch of like pictures from that and use them as like promotion for like going live and things like that. But I maybe doing that in like a B-roll way, like using it as images of people enjoying my content, but it's AI generated people. I think that would be hilarious, because it will probably be really creepy and kind of Uncanny Valley-esque. So there's a lot of opportunities for people to be kind of creeped out and be kind of, and that might catch their attention. I've also thought about, like, it'd be cool. I've seen a website where every time you refresh it, it's a different generated person. Yeah, like the "this person doesn't exist" kind of sites where they show you a person that doesn't exist, but like it can look like it looks like real people. It's just a website generator or a website photo generator that generates a picture of someone who quote unquote doesn't exist. What was I saying? Oh, like it's really creepy because that website is like, these people don't exist, but sometimes it like is really close to people who actually do actually do exist, and you're like, This is weird. I don't know if I like this. This is... There's some weirdness going on. So, I don't know. But I think that would be hilarious. It would be just creepy enough. Yeah, it is way too accurate. And, like, you kind of almost don't believe it. Like, for me, I'm kind of suspicious that I'm like, is it really people that don't exist? Or is it just people I've never seen before? Like, is this just a face that I've never seen before? Like, it could totally be a lie. I don't know enough about it. Well, that's the thing. That's kind of the thing. Imagine refreshing it and seeing you. So, I've seen videos where people are like, this looks like me. Now, it doesn't look exactly like them, but it looks pretty close. And it's like, it's way too close for it to be like true, you know. Well, nothing is true random, but to be seemingly random. But it would be very interesting to really dig into like the code behind it and see how it is generating these images. If it is just compiling different facial characteristics, if it is just scrubbing the internet for public pictures, and then maybe doing slight changes to them, like slight tuning to make them seem different, even if they are like someone. This is one of those things I'm like, I've been meaning to do this for so long, and this is the perfect excuse. Look at this. It is raining again. Ugh. On the page again, it's definitely random. The eyes of every picture is in the same location. That's weird. That's weird. Like, to me, that's creepy. Now, is it because... that makes me think it's not random, because that's definitely a point of... like, a point of pattern, right? Like, it's a point where a pattern emerges. Like, if the eyes are in the same location... that makes me think that it's not true random, or not quote-unquote random. Because that's a point of where it's the same in each picture. So is it... It got creepy. I saw a second person leaning on the shoulder of the main person. Oh, also random? To me, it would be random if we saw people who have genetic, like, facial features of one ethnicity that are not... Because nothing is, like... Ethnicities are kind of difficult to portray in just facial aesthetic, but there are some genetic markers that will make certain facial features kind of repeat in an ethnic group. So like maybe seeing certain facial features represented in different groups would be interesting. All right. Let's go check on our amethyst farm real quick. Oh, no. Make it... No. This one. Can't stop refreshing. I'm going to have nightmares. That's just, like, that's almost like a creepypasta at that point. Like, Like, ooh, I could imagine someone creating a creepypasta based on that. Like where every time you refresh, that person like is brought into existence. So maybe that's the reason why those faces are so creepy real and kind of random. And it's because not only are they created by that AI, they're being like fabricated into existence because of it and are refreshing. That could be a fun kind of really tacky horror movie, like a really low budget horror movie. Like I watched the one, oh gosh, what is it? It's the one with the app, the death app horror movie. What is it called? Countdown. Came out in 2019, and it is terrible. It is so bad, but it is so much fun. But it just reminds me of that, like Countdown. Oh, me too. Like, especially horror movies. I get insomnia sometimes. Due to like my anxiety and ADHD and stuff like that, and so I will get anxiety or get insomnia and stay up all night or until like 5 in the morning and then take like a power nap and then be good. But yeah, and I'll just go through lists of horrible movies. Have I seen Rubber? Yes, I love it. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Rubber is one of those movies that I thought way too much about. Okay, so Rubber is the movie about the sentient tire who kills people. So when I watched the movie, I got into it. Like, the way I view the movie is that they made the movie seriously. The crowd in the movie is obviously a representation of the audience, but it's also like how we as an audience view atrocious things, and we view them as audience members. Like we view them with no participation except criticism. And it kind of shows that like when horrible things are happening, there is a group of people who just sit there and watch and criticize whatever's happening, instead of doing something, instead of being part of the movie. And so the way I interpreted that movie is that group of people that are supposed to be the audience is that it's supposed to be kind of the societal audience of whenever horrible things are going on, and it being a sentient tire is trying to highlight the violence without putting a face, without glorifying the name of someone committing that violence and committing those atrocities. Because we rarely remember victims' names, and we remember we almost always remember the person who perpetrated the atrocities' names. And so with Rubber, they just made it a sentient tire. That is my theory about the movie. My very serious theory about a very silly movie. We already have Fortune 3. What do you got? Curse of Binding. Don't need you. Goodness, it's even weirder. The sunglasses of the person had a reflection, and I saw the other side. Oh no! You're gonna get So, okay, movie pitch. You do this enough. You keep refreshing the website, getting different people. But those are the people who come after you. Those are the people who are created into existence, who are birthed into existence because of your refreshing, and they will be the ones who take you out. So the more you refresh, are the more people that you have to look out for. So if you do it once, it's just one person that you have to contend with. And they're just people, but their sole motivation is to take you out. That could be a good bad horror movie. Do you have like an army coming after you now, like a small platoon? Oh no. Diffusion is done. Done for. Well, sorry to say, this is gonna have to be it for me. We're gonna go on a raid. Oh. Maybe you find myself if I can team up. Hi, it's Kai is playing some Minecraft. I've raided her before. So we are going to do a raid over there. If you want to go over there and hang out, click that raid button. But thank you for watching. Thank you, Diffusion, for hanging out with me. Check me out on all the socials, all at Mr. Retro, MMRRETRO. That's 2 M's, 2 R's, ETRO. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.